Hey guys, in these streams and videos, what I'm going to be doing is hopefully making a pretty simple Twitch game. And so if you've seen it sometimes, I know developers have done it before where they have kind of a game that's running along the bottom of the screen, almost like an overlay. And they can encourage some interaction with chat and whatnot. And it's just kind of a simple, fun thing to do that keeps your viewers engaged. So what I'm gonna do and what I have planned basically is for basically a dungeon crawl type of thing. I've seen some other streamers do this too, so it's not a new idea. Um, but basically, going to be having the players just kind of walk across the screen like a roguelike, and they'll come across enemies, battle the enemies, and if they die, then the next viewer will get to go through. Um, and basically, if they get to the end of the level, their turn's done for now, but then they can progress to the next level through the dungeon. And you can get gear and treasure and coin and stuff like that, and maybe there's some cool interaction that we can build in with Twitch integration and their API for actually rewarding the viewers. Like if you get a certain amount of coins through playing the game, which is tied to your viewership, then maybe you can get some perk, get a shout out, whatever the case might be. I actually, while I was prepping for this, I just saw that there's something called Twitch extensions, and apparently this is kind of an actual official way of building an overlay and actually having things go directly through Twitch. It looks like there is some games for this, but just for my own learning purposes and whatnot, I'm actually just going to be using a game engine called Phaser 3, and then the idea would be that the streamer would basically have the game running locally on their system, and they would add as a video capture just a part of the game. So that's the plan. We're going to make it just as a separate game, and maybe eventually we'll port it to an actual Twitch extension, because that's probably a lot easier to do the Twitch integration. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. What we're going to do for the very first thing is basically solely going through and making the basic gameplay. We're going to do the actual Twitch integration later. So the only thing that I want to focus on right now is actually getting a player on screen, having the player move, encounter enemies, fight them, get experience, and then move to the end of the level. Maybe getting some loot and having some stats modified and stuff like that from level ups and all that kind of thing. Yeah, that's the initial thing, and then we're going to move on to the Twitch integration after that. Let me just want to open up my channel over here so I can see chat if it's coming through. There we go. Okay, so I have a tile set that I'm actually going to be using. Let me pull it up here so you can see which one I'm going to be going with. I've played around with it a little bit. I don't have much experience doing game development, but I have enough where I can kind of fumble my way through things. If I search for... I'm just searching on itch.io to find where... Let's see here. Here we go. That's what I wanted. So this guy has made this free tile set, which is great, and it looks like he came out with a new one pretty recently. And basically, I'll just be using it for the graphics. It's Creative Commons; you can use it for whatever. But if you actually are looking for a tile set, I would recommend looking at this one for this type of game, and maybe shooting the guy a couple bucks for using it. It's definitely, I'm sure, put in a decent amount of work for it. Alright, so I've already downloaded everything, and I'm going to be using Tiled for actually creating the tile map. So basically, the tile map is literally in a pixel art game kind of your map. It's what's the visual representation of your game. In our case, it's going to be really, really basic. Let's start off with just kind of a long hallway because, right, we want the player to walk from one side to the other. So let's make sure we can actually get this all working first. And I'm going to be looking through documentation and Googling a bunch of stuff as we go. So the whole idea of this is so you can hopefully see it from start to finish. So in tiled, you basically load up a new map, and then over here you'll have a button to click for loading a new tile set. And I auto imported the tile set, which is just a simple image file, and you tell it how big the tiles are. In this case, it's 16 by 16 pixels, and Tile does a good job of breaking them up individually for you. So you can go through in this program here and select any of the tiles you want. You can see some of the characters and items and all that kind of stuff in the tile set itself. But you have all the tiles that you'll need to actually build a level. So in here, we're only concerned with the actual tiles themselves. We're not worried about the characters or the sprites just yet. So let's go ahead and just build a simple hallway. And I'm picturing it going across the bottom of the screen, so I'm kind of just thinking about how wide I want it to be. Let's just make it a little bit wider for now, and then we can adjust this as need be. I suppose let's put in some walls here across. Okay, that looks a little bit nicer. And then I think there's something that kind of goes along the bottom. Let me see what the examples show. Okay, so he just has it with the same tile below, and that'll probably be with this on top as well. So let's see here. Okay, so we can actually add new layers here. So we're going to say bottom wall here, and by doing that, we can actually layer on top of the tiles that we already did. And the reason we want to do this is because this little part is the top of the wall, and then we can select the tile below it and have it come straight across like this. And now it looks a little bit better. And actually, let's cap off the wall on top as well. Okay, so the idea is the user is gonna, or the player is gonna walk down this this hallway here. So I think this is fine for now. What I want to do is actually just get this saved and figure out how to load tiled maps in Phaser. So let's go ahead and save this. We already have it in our folder here. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention is I'm starting from a boilerplate. It's a TypeScript Phaser 3 boilerplate. Let me bring that up. And this is a pretty nice boilerplate that somebody put together. And you can find it if you just Google Phaser 3 TypeScript boilerplate. And basically it just gets us started with everything we need to for Phaser 3 and TypeScript, and it's got the built-in Webpack server that it'll actually run our game and stuff like that. And so if we actually come back into our game and we go ahead and just launch our npm script to run it, of course it's not. Oh, okay, so error expression. Oh, I see. Interesting. So it's trying to actually parse the. Oh, interesting. Okay, so what's actually happening? So in my assets folder for the game, I've already got, like I mentioned, so I've got the individual sprites, the actual tile map here and stuff like that. So it's got all the tiles for the game. But I also have the actual tiled export. And this is just data that represents the map that we created in tiled. And what's happening is actually Webpack is actually looking at this file, the tileset.tsx file, and it's actually this one here. I'm sorry, so the TSX file is actually the issue. And basically, Webpack thinks that it is a React file because TypeScript, when using the front-end framework of React, the files have the suffix of TSX, the file extension. So it thinks that it is that. So what can we do here? I think what we might do is just move. We can either modify the Webpack config or move this somewhere else. where is the, actually, okay. Let me think here, actually. So actually, if we move, because I don't know if it's actually parsing things outside of assets. So if we actually go and try to run this again, it might be just going through the assets folder because it's trying to parse through. Nope, that is still is looking in anywhere. Okay, so what we're actually going to do then is just, let's just move that out of here because I believe the only thing we need to do, so let's quit out a tile, then actually open that back up in the new directory. Yeah, can't find that, that's fine. Open file, and let's go into the folder where we actually put things. So go in here and look at our default map. Yep, and so I can't find the tile map because we moved it, so we're just gonna open this, locate file, and this is located in here, yep. All right, so that's that, and there's our map again. Okay, that's good. So, all right, let's just make sure we can actually run this boilerplate real quick. All right, that's a good sign. Okay, so we've got it running, and this is just the boilerplate here. So if you come in and look at the code from the boilerplate, we can go ahead and see that we've got our game that's set up here, and our main scene that we have. So we're going to move the licensing from his boilerplate. Okay. And then let's see here. Let's see if we can modify something too. So we load image, phaser. So, okay. So let's try to just load in some text and see. So load text, test text, and then so what does that actually do? All right, so one thing I'm going to be looking through a lot is the examples that Phaser provides. So Phaser 3 just came out maybe last year, beginning of this year. The documentation was kind of lacking, but they've definitely improved that quite a bit. So they've got the full documentation in the on their website. But they've got these examples here, which is this is how I've always learned stuff in Phaser. So let's see if we can just go ahead and actually, you know what? If I go back into this and let's go ahead and load assets, images. All right, so let's just rename that sprites, and then we're gonna load one of these sprites just to make sure this is all working. Image sprite, and then we're gonna give it the path, assets. Images, sprites, we'll say big demon. Remember, these are the individual frames, all split into different image files. Okay, so we've got that, and if we go back into this, let's see here. No. Oh, of course. Okay. So what's happening is basically this is loading the image into memory. So the phaser scenes have different states. So some of the main ones are preload and create, and then update. And so this is basically the life cycle of a scene. So what happens is all the images or resources get loaded up in the preload function here, and then things actually get instantiated and created in the create function. So this is actually getting added to the game here. It's adding a sprite with a key logo, and you can see we loaded this sprite with the key logo here. So let's just do that for our new sprite here. So this dot phaser sprite. Oh, okay. So it's declaring a new sprite up here. So we can just say test sprite phaser.game objects.sprite. And then let's go ahead and say this test sprite. We actually probably don't need to do that. This is just so you can reference the sprite then, because then after this we can go and say phaser sprite, and now it's loaded into the game, so we can probably do things like, looks like you can, modify different things about the sprite itself. You can flip it, you can set the frame of it, you can get information about it once it's actually loaded into the game. But we should just be able to do this.add sprite, and this is where an x and y, so let's just say 100, 100, and we will say this is the sprite that we want to load into. So once we actually put that into the code, we reloaded, well, hot reloading took effect, and we can see our sprite loaded in there. So let's just change this so we can see it a bit more clearly. Yeah, so it comes in there. It looks like it's actually, the way the game is set up is this black box is the actual game area, the game canvas. So let's see if we can modify that. Parent game, main scene. I wonder if, So I'm just wondering how the text up here is actually loaded. Unless I might be an idiot. Yep, I'm an idiot. So it's actually in the HTML page that's being loaded here. So if we go back and we check inside of our code here, index.html, there's the phaser TypeScript and the h1 tag here. So we change that and reload this, you can see the new text there. So let's call this Twitch game. Is that here? Say Twitch game. Sounds good. Give this a reload. So now we've got the text up here and the title changed. So basically what happens is the index.html file gets loaded, and then basically the main thing that's driving everything is this build bundle.js file. And this is the output of Webpack, where it's combining all of your source code, compiling it down to JavaScript, and then bundling it all together to look like a hot mess, which is all of this stuff. But rest assured, this is basically all the code that's needed to run your game. So that includes the phaser library, any external libraries you might have included, and any of your actual game code, like our main scene and any of our stuff that we've coded. That's all included in the bundle.js file. So let's see here. All right, so we want to change the dimensions of the game because we want it to be kind of short in terms of how tall it is, and then we want it to be a lot longer. So let's go ahead, and that's probably done in here, which we can see obviously right here. So let's say like the width, 800's okay, I think, because it can just scale up. Probably not though. We probably want to actually have this a little bit wider. So let's go 1400 here and maybe 250 for the height. So that gives us more of kind of what we're looking for. It's okay to work with right now. I think that's fine. Let's go into the main scene again and actually get rid of this logo here. Don't need that. Okay. So coming back here, we've just got our single sprite, and that's the only thing in the game now. All right, so the next thing, actually, I'm probably going to want to move that map back into the directory, or actually, let's see here. The tile set was the only thing that was the issue. So let's go ahead and move the defaults back into the Twitch game folder, and then we'll go ahead in our assets, new folder, maps, and we'll just move that default map to here. Okay, move that. So we're going to need to rejigger tiled again, because it's not going to know where the tile set is, because it's expecting it to be, or it doesn't know where the map is actually. So let's see here. Okay, the file. So that's that. Okay, and then let's open up game dev, Twitch game, assets, maps, defaults. Okay, so yeah, I can't find the tile set that it needs to. So this is actually in game dev, maps, tile set. Okay, cool. Back to where we were. All right, so we've got the tile set in the directory above our game, and we've got the actual map within our game assets, so that's fine. And everything I think is probably working okay. Yep, everything is compiled fine. All right, so let's see here. Next thing we're going to want to do is actually figure out how well, actually the first thing that we want to do is I want to scale these sprites, because this is a big guy here. So what happens if we come in and load a different asset that's a 16 by 16 instead? So I think like, yeah, one of those guys will be fine. Elf F idle frame 3. Sure. And as you can see, the regular sprites are a lot smaller. So we want to scale these. There is almost certainly a way to scale basically every asset that gets loaded. It's especially useful for pixel art games because pixel art is obviously a lot smaller typically. It's between kind of 16 to 32 by 32 pixels. And that's obviously really small on current monitors. So we want to go in here. Let's see if there's anything in the examples. Scaled canvas might be game config scale. That's probably what we want to do. How can we go? I want to edit this. Okay, so they've got their own sandbox. That's good. So we've got this loaded. Scale, show all, blah, blah, blah. Oh, I just want to run it. There we go. Okay. Let's see. Phaser 3 scale pixel art. I'm sure somebody's done this. Oh, pixel art. So it's got an actual pixel art value for the game config. So we should be able to say pixel art, true. Zoom, right? Is that what it was? 2? I think it just worked like that. And let's see if that zoomed up. Excellent. So that is obviously bigger than what we had before. So let's go back and let's just make sure that did, yeah, that took effect 2 by 2, or it multiplied everything by 2. Let's see here. Do we want 3 though? What I can do is make the canvas smaller and do this kind of thing. Okay. So that's going to be way too tall, but about the right width. So let's go ahead and just half that and see what that gets us. Probably a little bit too big still. So I kind of like the scale of 3. I think that'll look pretty good on the bottom of somebody's screen, maybe even a little bit smaller. So we don't want to take up too much screen real estate. I think that's going to be okay. So let's go ahead and figure out how to get the actual tiled map in here. Tiled JSON map. Okay, so actually let's go ahead and I think you could export as, this is what it's talking about, JSON. So let's go ahead and export it as JSON data. And so basically tiled gives you a couple export options. And if we go into maps and what we just created, all it did is create a JSON file that is the representation of our tiles within tiled. So it's basically just saying what tile is in what coordinate for the map. From here, let's see here. Okay, so we've got that file. And okay, so this, all right, so this has the tiled from here. All right, so if we go in, load tiled, okay, tile map, tiled JSON. Okay. Stop, make tile map key map. Okay. First one. All right, so let's go through here. And the main scene, we want to load it. So let's get rid of, let's keep that in there for now. I'm going to say this dot tile, what was it? Style, yeah, load dot tile map, yep, tile JSON. And let's say that. It's in assets, maps, default.json. What? Got 2 dots in there somehow. Alright, so got that. My spell check is telling me tiled is not, or tile map's not a word. Let's just add that. Okay. So let's create the tile map first. So I believe the way this works is it executes everything and kind of stacks the sprites on top of each other in the order you create them. So in other words, if we create the tile map here, this will get created and then the sprite will get created, and the sprite will reside on top of the tile map. If you do it the other way around, the sprite will get rendered first and then the tile map will get rendered over it, which is obviously not what we want. So let's go ahead and create the tile map, which we can do from this make tile map. So it looks like Phasor gives you an option to make a tile map, and the key, right, was map. Okay. All right, so let's see here. The first parameter is the name of the tile set and tiled. Okay, and the second parameter is the key of the tile set imaged when loading the files in the preload. Okay. Oh, so you have to load the tiles also as an image. Okay. So let's go ahead and this.load.image assets. I'm going to change the name of this, which is going to probably screw with tiled. We'll fix that in a second. I'm just going to call this tile map. Okay. And that's the actual picture. Tile map.png. Okay. So we've loaded, and we need to give this an actual key name so we can reference it later. Okay, so you can load a layer. Okay, index. All right, this sounds like, okay, this all seems to make sense. So basically what it's doing is you are giving it the name of the tile set. And that's actually, does that look, let me look at this just a bit more. The second parameter is the key of the tile set image used when loading the file and preload. Okay, so tiles is the actual image. Cybernoid is, I would assume, the name of the tile set. Okay, so we're gonna actually want to go ahead and redo that. So let's open up tile, because the tile map's going to be named something wonky because I just renamed it. So we've got our default, and we want to open this back up. This is in, yep, okay, so we want to load this. Okay, that's fine. Here's what we want to do. We want to locate this file, and this is actually going to be tilemap.png. Okay, great. So, wonder if we can just, all right, I might recreate this actually, because the tile map is going to have this name here, and I kind of don't want the name of this. I want a different name. Let's see, tile tree name tile set. Tile set. So if I can just rename it, then that's fine. Yeah, overwrite your old tile set with a new image. That's not talking about the name, that's the actual tiles itself. That's fine. I'll just actually keep it as that. So in order to actually get this going, we need to do the add tile set image. So tiles, map dot, so this is, we need a reference. This map dot add tile set image. Okay, and this is going to be the tile set image of 07272. Engine tile set 2 or 101. Okay, and this will be tile map. Because this second parameter needs to actually be, yes, the image that we loaded the actual tiles into. And let's see if this actually is compiling, because it's not, okay, it is compiled. Games here, okay. So we haven't actually rendered the layer in the tile map. So we've got a couple of layers here. We've got layers, we're gonna have 2 layers because we had the main stuff and then the bottom wall there. So we're actually going to want to render both of those. So let's see how we actually do that, which I believe you can get the layer from here. Okay, that makes sense. So in your map that you loaded up, you can create a static layer. That's what we want, a layer index. So create static layer. Okay. Got it. Okay, so you're loading in the image as the second parameter. Static, what was it? Create static layer. Layer ID or number. Okay, so we want just to render the first one. I think it might be backwards, but we'll find out in just a second. So the tile set is going to be tiles. This is where to position into the world. So let's just start with 0, 0. See where that gets us, if anywhere. Okay. Nowhere at the moment. I wonder if it's loading this whole thing. Because we might want to actually... Can I change the size of it? Yeah, resize map. Actually, let's auto crop. What did that do? If it did what I think it did, which it did. Okay, good. So I think what was happening is it had all these empty tiles around it, so it's just blank space there. So if we go here, export as, and then defaults, oh, okay, fine. Export as JSON. Okay, you want to save it as, yeah, default.json. Replace that, okay. Now let's go ahead and possibly reload. Nope. Let's go ahead and do the same thing, but let's render the second layer as well. Nothing. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and increase the size of this to see if we're missing anything. Doesn't look like that's the case. So let's see here. What might we be missing? I guess we can set the so in the next line here, it's setting the camera's bounds to the map, which seems to make sense. So hopefully that should actually just place the camera where our tile map is. And actually, I can change where the camera is with that to scroll on. Okay, so let's go ahead and go in here. We're actually, our sprite's no longer there either, I think, right? Was that accurate? Interesting. That's, okay, we'll have to see what happens there. But let's change the camera then. Camera, okay, we want to use, or set the bounds of the main camera. 0, 0, and then map dot, and what was the width in pixels? Map dot height in pixels. Okay. So let's see if that did anything. Nope, of course not. think it might not be able to find the tile set image. Adds an image to the map to be used as the tile set. A single map may use multiple tile sets. The tile set name can be found in the JSON exported from tiled or the tiled editor. Interesting. So what do you have in here? I'm looking for the tile set name. So the tile set name is the first thing. The key, that's fine. The name of the tile set is specified in the map data. The key, which is kind of weird. Why couldn't they just get it from the map data if you're passing it to it? The key here, let's see here. If you go through, let's see here. Don't need any of that stuff. The tile set name can be found in the JSON file exported from tiled or the tiled editor. Okay, so that should be able to be found there. Tile sets. Maybe it's just tile set? That actually kind of makes sense. Nothing there. I wish it showed the actual... Yeah, definitely wish it showed that. I'm actually just going to change something to make sure that it's... do a sanity check here. Background color, and I'll just change it to... I don't know what color that is, but I just wanted to check something and see if we're actually rendering the background. Okay, that's interesting. Game. Background color. Nope. If I search for here, I want to do basically config. Yeah, game config. Okay, that makes sense. Background color. Okay. What I was doing is trying to change the background color and make sure that this color was changing. So I would know that the map isn't just rendering these black squares. So let's just do some sanity checking here. So it should loads the sprite in there. 0, 0, it's interesting that it's off to the side there. Just gonna shorten it up by a little bit. That's interesting. Actually, we do not want any of the physics, so I can take that out. That was just from the boilerplate. There's the sprite. Okay. Alright, so actually, that kind of answered my question. Because if we go ahead and try to load all this back up, it completely blocks out the sprite. Sprite's no longer there, which is interesting. Let's see here. Tiles. Sure, let's see what's out there. Logic game with tile maps, blah blah blah. Okay. Tile map, yep, we know that. Okay. Basic template, sure. Okay, that's fine. First step. Okay, so this is the tiles. So we already loaded the image in here. Let's actually go ahead and just say tiles. So that's a bit more descriptive. I don't think I did that wrong. No. Okay. All right, so we've loaded in that image. That's fine. Actually, you know what? Probably should have checked the output. That's interesting. Assign type cannot read property 2 of undefined. Oh, probably should actually check the debug there. So let's just go ahead and comment that out to make sure. Yeah, okay. So where does this actually happen? Okay, can't read property 2. All right, so this is the issue here. This time make the tile map. Okay, so why can't it actually make the map itself? All right, we're getting somewhere here. All right, I don't want to have to make tile map. All right, so this dot load tile map JSON map. Loading from CSV. So, okay, this is loading from CSV instead. Tile map, add tile set, image, tiles, create static layer 0, tile set 0, 0. So that's essentially the same that we're doing, except it's JSON instead of CSV. So it can't make the tile map. Let's make tile map, okay. So it's doing the same thing. It's calling the key, or it's getting the tile map that has the key of map, which is declared up here, loaded as a tile map CSV there. Okay, that's fine. But that's the thing that's actually worked for us. Can I read property 2 undefined parse? So it's, yeah, it's not tile properties. Curiosity. Tiles at index 2. Individual tiles. So why can't out of curiosity. Cool. Tile at index tiles. Map data. Height 6. Width 31. That makes sense. 6 height, because we're probably 6 tiles high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That makes sense. Okay, so this is inside of the loading or parsing of the JSON here. So tile dot and tile is an individual tile. That's fine. Find the relevant tiles. Actually, yeah. Okay, so this is where it arrows out. Actually, right here. So that's fine. Okay. Alright, let's go back into here. So top properties, yeah. Alright, reload. There we go, okay. So map data, tiles. Tiles is nothing, and no tile set either. So it's not loading in the tiles and tile set properly, it seems. Okay. That's definitely an issue. Tile dot index 35. But it is not in the map data. It does not have tiles or tile sets. I feel like this should be caught somewhere in the parsing, because obviously it should have tiles and tile sets. Okay. Out of curiosity, I'm going to go ahead and export this as CSV instead. So maybe we have better luck with that. Okay, so we export it as CSV. Let's come back in here. Instead of loading tile map CSV, instead of JSON, we'll use CSV. Okay, so progress is had. No, it's not, because obviously that was not exported in the right spot, because I can't find it. Export as, where are we? Yeah, assets, maps, default. Assets, default. Huh? Oh, it exports it as a different layers. Interesting. Yeah, we don't want that because that'll. Okay. Save that. Export as default CSV. So what happened here is bottom wall. Let's get rid of you. That was the default one. Okay. So what happened is actually interesting. Okay. So it just exported it with each of the layers. So if we go into this, okay. So if we say default ground, right? Load that. Okay. Okay, so that was successful. Okay. Okay. Progress. It is not using the right tiles whatsoever, but there's progress. Okay. So the problem is it didn't export properly with a JSON. Why would that be an issue? That's kind of weird. Export as. Can I just load the tiled? Yeah. It's just either, yeah. Default. So if we do this still, it's going to have an issue with, yeah. Okay. Layers, sure. Tile sets. It has it there. I wonder if this needs a name or something? That didn't format it how I wanted it to. That's alright. Let's see here. I almost wonder if we should just export it as an image, just load it in. Honestly, because nothing really, although some of the tiles might animate and all that kind of stuff, so let's actually, yeah, we'll keep it the same. But it's not loading JSON properly. Well, let's go ahead and try to Google our exception. JSON. Okay. Yep, okay. That's exactly what's happening, so we're not the first person to run into this. Tile sets, source image, name. Yeah, that's not what happens for ours. Is your tile set and tile JSON is your tile. Same folder image. No, he's tiles property. That's from where it's loading. It's not the phase live, yeah. Okay. After downgrading to that, embed tile set button. Interesting. Seems to be the new tiled update. Embed tile set. Okay, so let's try that first. Embed tile set. Okay. Now what do we get when we export? As yeah. Okay, so this just got changed to what? Tile sets. Okay. This looks better because it's got a name for our tile set. So let's take the name inside of here. Of course it formats it. And actually go through to here. Nope. Sometimes Vim makes me annoyed. Okay. What do we got? Bang. Okay. Awesome. Close, at least. But better. Can obviously load in things properly now. That's a good sign. Let's go ahead. Do we have the camera? Nope, we don't. So that actually, hopefully will... Nope. Oh, that actually kind of makes sense, I think. Because it's probably... Let's actually go to our game and increase the height here so we can see what's going on here. Okay. That's fine. And then we should be able to load in that as well. Oh, that makes sense because we added in that on the other layer. All right, I probably shouldn't do it that way, but that's fine. Okay, that's actually good. That's very good. So we've got that set up fine and loading in. All right. That's a good place to cut it off, I think, for now. And I'll be back pretty soon continuing this, and we'll get the player walking across and all that kind of stuff. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.